I just finished my first gold 6 run on Balatro and it is amazing. Let me tell you why. After playing my fair share of roguelike games such as Hades and Risk of Rain 2, these games, although fun for a while, get frustrating for me to keep playing. After a couple hours of playing, I would develop a likeness, or rather I would favor one build type over another. But due to the random nature of these games, it's extremely difficult or next to impossible to replicate the very exact build, or in its core, the fantasy you're trying to embody. Everyone has their preferences in character archetypes in RPG games. Personally, I like to feel invincible, constantly in melee range, taking attacks head on and healing them back through relentless aggression. Maybe you like being stealthy, taking out enemies before they even know you are there in the first. This leads to forced playstyles on you that you do not care for at all. I don't find the idea of a pure range glass cannon character appealing at all, but when you're dealt your hand in items and whatnot in roguelikes, you don't get to decide. So you might spend a whole run not being able to complete the build you want to play, and worse, spend a whole run not getting anything that you want. After a couple of these boring runs, I just lose all my motivation to play the game, because when I press that play button, there's no guarantee that I will play what I want, and there's no consistency whatsoever. The run is either fun and I get my build, or the run is a slog and I don't get my build. I understand that you're supposed to improvise and use different items on the fly, and every run is fresh and different. As fun as that sounds, the core of an RPG is still the fantasy and character archetype you're trying to play. It's like when I lock in Aatrox in League of Legends, but then the client says, "Nuh-uh, you wanted to play Ari." It's straight up just unfun. This applies the most to Risk of Rain 2, where the characters are so secondary to items, it's crazy. I once picked Commando and used none of his abilities once I got a crazy amount of active item cooldown reduction, and spammed my item instead of shooting and using my abilities. Because without items enhancing my default, it literally does negative damage to the enemies. My point is that I could have picked Huntress, Bandit, or fucking Wally. There's literal character identity. It doesn't matter who I pick. I would have had that exact same build. There's only like 1 to 2 stats that each base Risk of Rain characters don't want, and the rest is like, yeah, sure, why not? This helps the character be fluid to the randomness of the items in the game, but also takes away even more control from the player to choose what they want to play before the game even starts. Take a look at Hades, for example. At least you get to choose a weapon before every run, and the weapons maintain identity throughout the run due to the weapon-specific upgrades that change your gameplay drastically. I think this fixes a lot of problems that I had with Risk of Rain 2 and other RPG roguelikes. Picking Sword meant that I always had to go into melee range most of the time and use my sword perks to achieve that character fantasy I was trying to play. It's pretty consistent with where you're going to get in a run with Sword, but it also comes in different flavors, keeping it fresh every run. I still have criticisms of Hades, but it is by far a superior RPG experience compared to Risk of Rain 2. When I pick Sword, I am the close range warrior archetype. Basically, always. When I pick Bow, I'm the swift and hard-hitting glass cannon. Basically, always. The consistency of being able to choose every run is extremely nice. But some dude who has never published a game before said, hey, what if big numbers and flame effect, and throw that RPG shit out the window? This is Balatro, a roguelike poker deck building game where you play poker hands with jokers that act like perks or items, and try to hit an ever-increasing score requirement. First of all, I need to say, a non-RPG roguelike in my Steam catalog? I've basically never played any roguelike that's not an RPG, except for Balatro. It's an absolutely genius idea. Screw character fantasies and archetypes, take that shit back to Diablo 4 or Path of Exile 2. The fantasy of the game is literally getting the biggest number you can get. That's literally just it. You get crazy amounts of ways to modify a deck, but the experience is always consistent since you're literally just chasing a high number. There's no reason to be attached to any builds because in the end, you're getting that number the same way. Now don't assume the game is one-note and boring, because it absolutely is not boring. The endless amounts of jokers and combos they create are quite fucking diabolical. The game makes you want to spaz out in your chair and scream when you hit that insane fucking joker combo with the correct hand. The game excels at encouraging self-made joker combos that most of the time are so just insanely stupid. because the game is designed in a way that no Joker or perks will ever add more gameplay elements. What I mean is, you know how in Hades, these god boons have these effects that you have to play around and center your build around? Like how Ares has these abilities that apply Doom, his unique debuff to enemies, and you need other Ares perks to work best with Doom. They don't exactly encourage synergy with the rest of the boon list, since you can and should stack a god's blessings, as they almost always work best with each other. Balatro's Jokers only increase very basic numbers in different ways, so all these seemingly boring Joker effects can come together and combo with each other in super unexpected ways. I just fucking love the feeling of fighting a Joker whose effects are seemingly so useless, but you figure out a super strong combo with another Joker. But then, let's talk Balatro basics for now. Basically, you're dealt a hand of cards, and you have to play poker hands, like full house or pairs. Simple enough. It first scores that hand based on how strong the hand is. Then, the Jokers come in and give you more numbers and multipliers based on the hand and other circumstances. Like this Joker, Odd Todd, increases my chip count for every odd number card I play. Hey, this one increases the multiplier and chip count for every ace I play. And you know what an ace is? That's an odd card. Hey, look, they work together. Hey, that's pretty good, right? If we play aces, we get a bunch of numbers. Now, we add the fucking... The game's progression system is second to none, even though it is a roguelike game. There are tons of unique decks to unlock that range from, hey, you get one extra discard per round, to, what happened to my face cards? Where's anything? You unlock these decks by beating the game with other decks and getting achievements, thus granting achievements actual purpose, other than, oh, I want to platinum Balatro, because I like the game, or whatever. After beating the game with some decks, you might think, what else is there to do? Oh, there is so much more to do. The game is constantly challenging and engaging in greater difficulties that you unlock as you play, that not only increase the target number you have to hit, but also introduce new mechanics like Eternal Jokers. When you buy them, you better be sure you want them, because you cannot get rid of them. There are also mechanics like expiring Jokers that make the Joker affected by it useless after 5 rounds of use. It isn't artificial difficulty like in most shitty MMOs where they just increase the HP and change the color and base stats of the enemies and call it, elite Murlocs or whatever. It's the kind of difficulty that completely changes how you play the game by making you plan out your moves and Joker purchases. Now, moving away from the gameplay of the game's OST is just infinitely listenable. It's just super good. Whenever you hear the first piece of the OST, you already know what's in store for you. Can't say that for other roguelike games. The game's soundtrack, art style, and absurd card arts make the game incredibly charming as well. You can get a stupid ass gross Michael banana card that has a 1 in 6 chance of going extinct every single time it's used, just like its real world counterpart, which is always under the threat of extinction. When it does go extinct, one of the best cards in the whole game enters the pool of Jokers you can obtain. Can you guess what it is? It's a Cavendish banana, of course. The species of banana that you and I are familiar with and are more resistant to extinction with a 1 in 1,000 chance of extinction every single time you play it. Why am I mentioning this? Because I think it's neat. And other things like Ride the Bus's card art saying it stops for Jack, Queens, and Kings because playing those cards fucks the value of the card, thus stopping the bus. I can go on, but I think I've made my point, and if you haven't tried out Balatro, you absolutely need to, if you've always liked the idea of a roguelike but it never clicked with you. That's how it was with me. Game's only like 60 megabytes and costs what, $10? Go try it out, and thanks for watching.